Welcome friends to another r/idontworkherelady video. As always, if you enjoy the stories, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Our first story of the day is by Throwaway Smoker. You are a brown guy at this gas station in the evening, so you are working here. The cast is as follows. My friend Raj, 29, named so people can guess his ethnicity. Raj's friend Mike, 30. Karen, late 40s, maybe, and bored-to-death shop assistant, 20s. So my friend Raj works for a very huge global conglomerate in management and travels around the US a lot. However, his house is in the suburbs of a famous college town in Texas. He was out of town for the whole last week and came back yesterday evening. Once at the airport, his colleague and friend Mike picked him up as a favor to drop him off at home. Once they were almost there, Raj realized his fridge was near empty and he needed some food. So they stopped by a gas station to get some frozen foods and some small snacks. Raj is always dressed sharp. Always. It's how he was taught since he was a kid. He was royalty. Literally. His name and my country's are on the list of people with royal lineage. So he's always clean. But a very, very, very nice guy, unless you piss him off. One of his revenge stories can even make John Wick want to take him as a disciple. Story for another time, but even the half story I know made me scared of this guy for a bit. So anyway, Raj and Mike went into the store and got some stuff. Raj was carrying a laptop case in his hand, dressed in a suit. There was a guy behind the counter who looked so bored, I'm sure he would rather go back home and play on his laptop instead of being on his phone. And enter Karen. Raj only said she looked a little older, not how she dressed, but that she had a ton of makeup. Raj didn't even know when she entered the store or when she came to find him. She had a mask on, so did Raj and Mike. Anyway, she came up to Raj and immediately asked him where a certain drink was. It seems she usually buys it here, but today she couldn't find any. Raj was confused and looked at her. Here's the gist of the conversation as said by Raj. Raj said, "I'm sorry, what? I don't know. I don't come here usually, so I don't know where it is." The Karen says, another lazy college student. You are getting paid to help me, just do your job. Yep, she assumed because he was brown, he was a part-timer at the store, working in a suit, holding his laptop bag and shopping cart. Raj, now understanding what happened, said, "Sorry, I don't work here. I'm also here to shop. There's a guy behind the counter. Maybe he can help." The Karen said, "Help me now. I know you need this job, so don't force me to call your manager and get you fired. Stop being lazy." Raj, now thinking maybe his mask made it hard for her to understand, pulled his mask down a bit and said a little loudly, "Ma'am, I don't work here. I'm also shopping. I had a long flight and I'm tired. Please leave me alone." The Karen says, "You brown guys are always lazy. I'm asking you for the last time before I call your manager to get you fired. Get my drinks right now." At this point, Raj was pissed, but he looked at her calmly, loudly this time saying, "Sure, let me help you." Then he looked at the assistant behind the counter and called out loudly, "Hey dude, can you come here? This lady needs some help shopping. But I think she has a problem with hearing and sight. She thinks I work here and can't seem to hear, even when I explained I don't multiple times." Then he looked at Karen and again loudly said, "Don't worry, someone will help you so that you won't trip and fall." Karen was red in the face, just looked at Raj angrily, and walked away. The board shop assistant didn't even know what happened. And while all this was happening, it seems Mike actually paid for a drink and came back running and was enjoying the show while sipping his drink. Even when they got back to his place and were working during the night, he randomly burst out laughing, it seems. It sounds like making a scene here to totally embarrass the Karen sounds like a bunch of fun and like the perfect payback for the whole situation, but I don't know if I personally would be comfortable enough to do that. What about you guys? Would you be confident enough to just make a scene out loud to embarrass this Karen? Let me know in the comments down below. This next story is by I Love Jimmy Johns. A Karen complained to me about the free food at a high school dinner theater show. I was in theater for all 4 years of high school. Every year, the sophomore class would put on a medieval-themed dinner theater. that parents and other family members were invited to attend. They got free dinner and a show. My role was a dancer/waitress. The most I had to do for the waitressing part was fill up people's waters and serve the food. It was a preset menu, so it's not like I had to take orders or anything. In the middle of the show, after I did my dancing part, it was time to serve the food. It was chicken, mashed potatoes, and I think a side of veggies. After the families ate the food and watched some more skits, I went to collect the plates. This Karen death gripped my arm and said her chicken was flavorless, and she was waiting a long time for someone to come around and ask how her meal was. Apparently, she wanted to send it back. I really thought this was some mom trying to be funny with me, but no. I was just a 15-year-old girl and didn't know what to do. I got my teacher, and she said she'll handle it. I don't know what happened after though. This Karen really thought that she was in a restaurant and these 14 to 16-year-old kids were actual experienced servers. I was mostly baffled when she said she wanted to send the food back. To where? It came pre-made and already cooked from the grocery store and was assembled on plates by the teachers in the back room. I think maybe she thought the cafeteria staff was in the kitchen cooking it or something. Also, during rehearsals, we weren't told to go back and check on the guests and see how their food is, because again, this was not a real restaurant. The situation's funny to think about because it's kind of like if you're playing with a toddler and they make you food and hand you a plastic piece of cake, and instead of pretending to eat it and make yummy noises, you throw it on the ground and say you hate buttercream. This felt like a similar version of that. Also, I never figured out whose mom that was. Honestly, I think it might be for the best that you don't find out whose mom that was. Maybe it's somebody that you really like, and honestly, it would probably alter your perception of that person, and who really needs that? As long as you're not seeing the Karen again, I think that's really all that matters. This next story is by Alt Personas Shelbs, but you have on a name tag. I was visiting one of my dealerships recently. I work for the financing arm of the manufacturer, but cannot interact with customers because of my role. When a customer approached me about buying a car, I had just gotten out of my car. He actually witnessed me get out when he walked over to me and started talking to me about the two trucks I parked between. It was just a rapid-fire style of questioning, and I explained to him I didn't work for ABC Auto Company, but could grab someone to help him once I got inside. He started cussing at me, saying that clearly I didn't want to sell him the freaking truck, and even mentioned it was because of his race. I explained to him again that I did not work for the dealership and didn't know anything about either of the vehicles he was interested in, but that I could get him someone who did. He asked me why I wore a name tag with the manufacturer logo if I didn't work there. I told him, and referenced my distributor plate, that I work for the manufacturer and have to wear my name tag into dealerships, but I'm not authorized to speak on behalf of the dealership, sell vehicles, or interact with customers as a point of reference. I was finally able to go in and get him someone. When the finance manager, who was driving one of the vehicles the guy wanted to look at, came back in, he was laughing. The guy complained to him that I refused to help him, and he explained that I was the one that could approve or decline him for financing, and he hoped he wasn't hateful towards me. Not true, I don't have that power. They got a credit app on the guy, and turns out he wasn't in a position to buy this $50,000 truck, he just wanted to be a jerk. There's nothing wrong with stopping by just to take a look at the stock. You know, window shopping and all that, we all love to do it, but why do it solely to be a jerk? Not only were they acting like a jerk, but it seems like their goal was to intentionally waste time and upset people that way as well. This guy must have been pretty bored. Or maybe somehow ABC Auto just have totally scorned this guy, and this is his epic revenge. This next story is by Queen Eros. Got stopped by a customer while I was wearing a dress and 4-inch heels. Okay, for context, yes, I do work there, but I was off that day and went to my job to grab a couple things. I work in a grocery store. I was stopped while I was picking out eggs by a woman who said, "Can you check in the back for more water?" I froze and said, I don't work here, lady, sorry." and turned back to picking my eggs. To which she says, "You do work here. I've seen you here before." Let me tell you the absolute frustration in my voice when I said this. Lady, ask someone who's not in a freaking dress and heels and looks like they're working. All I remember was hearing her say she wanted to speak to a manager. She even name-dropped one of them, but yeesh. I don't want to go in the back of a dusty store when I'm off. I barely want to go in when I have to go in. It's sad that people like this don't realize that even grocery store employees have lives too. Just because you might recognize a worker doesn't mean they're necessarily working there. If there's a uniform, that's definitely the king way to make sure that somebody actually works there. I know personally, I would definitely be looking for a uniform first. This next story is by I Love Jimmy Johns. A dad wanted to speak to a manager at a free face painting booth run by students. Not sure if this counts, but we literally weren't paid. We had to do this since it was part of our final grade, child education class. My freshman year of college, my class and I had to run booths at a kids' carnival the college had every year. The face painting booth was extremely popular, and the line went out the door and wrapped around the building. By the way, the carnival was free entry and free activities. This family that was literally next in line was having a fit that the wait was too long even though I was finishing up a kid and was about to start on them. They couldn't wait a second longer. The dad yelled at me about how long he had to wait and asked if he could speak to my manager to complain about me and peers. I told them we're students, we're not being paid to run this booth, and there is no manager. I mean, if you want to get technical, someone ran the carnival, but no one knew who it was or how to find them. And even if the dad complained, there's literally nothing they can do about wait times. It's a free kids carnival for crying out loud. You didn't pay a penny for anything. It's also only 4 hours long. He ended up leaving even though he was next in line. Also, there was no person in charge of all the booths. You were responsible for your own booth. The college just provided the booth and materials for you. There was no person overseeing all the booths. Honestly, for the sake of all the other students at this place, and honestly the kids too, it's probably for the best that this dad got all fired up at the entrance to the carnival and just decided to pack it up and go home and save anybody else the stress of having to be around him. I think it's more of a thank you bye than anything else. And our final story of the day is by Reflector36. When you know it's your last month and don't care anymore. For 4 years, I worked for a company that repaired cash registers, point-of-sale equipment, ATM, and computers at the customer's site. We had several large national clients. I won't specify them, but I'm sure you can assume. The kinds where employees wear uniforms, vests, specific colored polos, etc. Our dress code was business casual, so collared shirt, dress pants, and dress shoes, nothing specific for color, and a name tag that I wore on a lanyard. Just happens that I was in my last couple weeks at this job. I was fixing something where the employees wear a particular colored vest. I recall I was wearing a gray polo and black pants, perfect for working on dusty store equipment. I had a cash register stripped apart, pieces scattered along the conveyor belt, and my laptop open to some parts manual. My mind is in troubleshooting mode and oblivious to the people walking about. "Excuse me, do you mind running these items through for me?" an older gentleman asked. Distracted, I reply with the, by this point near muscle memory, response, "I don't work here, sorry." I had a confused look on my face since I had parts everywhere and the light on the number lane was off. He tells me, "Oh, you should wear something that says you don't work here." And this is where my snarky response came out. I figured, what are they going to do? Complain? I'm done in 3 weeks. I said, compared to all the employees that wear colored vests? Now he had the confused look on his face. I just went back to fixing, and he wandered off. "Well, gee, why are you wearing gray clothes in this blue store? Can't tell you apart from anybody." Then the guy turns around and goes, "Oh, sorry, miss, I thought you were my mother. You know, with that dress you were wearing, you look just like her." Just because the style fits doesn't mean it's identical to any uniform. But with that being said, that's a wrap on another bunch of stories here today. As always, if you guys have any favorite videos of this bunch, let me know which one in the comments down below and why. And if you enjoyed the stories in general, if you could subscribe to this channel, it'd mean a lot to me. I make these videos daily, and it's by far and away the best way to support my channel. So no matter what you did, whether it was subscribing or liking, leaving a comment, I just appreciate the heck out of you guys. And as always, I'll be back tomorrow with even more stories right here on the Storytime channel.